So you like weird books? Okay, okay. I got you covered. First things first, I have to preface by saying I love a weird book. I watch a lot of recommendations on it, but I realized, at least I noticed, a lot of people, when they say weird book, they would recommend scary books, horror, or like body horror. I have only one, maybe two body horror books here, but I don't think that encapsulates the weirdness that I want in books. I love funny weird. I love weird as in I know I am reading a weird book. I know I am approaching a weird book. I know this book will be weird, but it still catches me off guard. That is what I want when I say weird book. So all of these books that I'm going to talk about today are my kind of weird, but also they are different kinds of weird. And I'll take you through them today. To start off, we're going to go straight into my favorite weird book, which is Paradise Logic by Sophie Kemp. Paradise Logic follows this young woman called Reality Khan who is going on a quest to become the perfect girlfriend. She's going to be the best girlfriend of all time. That is her goal in this book. It's really, really, really funny. I've never laughed so much from a book. But what I treasure most in Paradise Logic is in its honesty. It is terrifying. I feel scared reading this book because it fully describes how I feel when someone asks me, why are you still single? Why don't you want to date anyone? Why don't you want to become a girlfriend of someone? I read a lot of reviews on this book. I feel like not a lot of reviewers delve into how poignant this book is. Everyone is just talking about how punchy, how funny, how unkempt, and how campy this book is. And I love all aspects of that. But mostly, I feel like it's such an enjoyable read because it's just weird, but it's reality, as the name of the protagonist. It is weird to be a girl living in a patriarchal society and having people expect you to act a certain way in order to become a good accessory to men. At first, the reason I picked up this book is because of the book cover. I thought, okay, the book cover is weird. For sure, this story will be weird and funny and fun. It is. But then as I read the book, I realized this book cover is not really fun and laughs. It's not all jokes. It feels funny because we have like different fonts. You have Comic Sans as a font. It's like, haha, don't take this seriously. And then you see like this anime looking girl, but you see this weird ass half naked man too. Of course, from the elements, you'll see that this book heavily relies on the story of Adam and Eve. It is kind of a satirical take on biblical text on the role of women. But at first glance, you'll be thinking, okay, this is just Adam and Eve, and then the snake, and then the apple, but why is it the man is the man, but everything else is cartoonish? And especially the woman is drawn in an anime art style. This is very important because you will see that this protagonist is a caricature. She talks in a very funny and weird way, very uncanny and not human-like. And that is exactly how men picture how women should be, especially in like anime. The male characters in this are actually not that unlikable. All of them are very, not necessarily well fleshed out, but they feel very real. Quite a number of them would question reality. This protagonist, why is she talking weird? Why is she acting weird? And why is she basing her life all around finding a boyfriend and finding love and finding a romantic relationship? It is a fun book. It's a weird read, and I love this weird book so much. Next, I have a pretty well done weird book. This is The Hole by Hiroko Oyamada. This book is such a good read, especially in summer. It's about a woman going to the countryside. She had to quit her job because her husband just got relocated. His mother has a whole house next to where she's staying, so she's offering them free rent. And at first I thought the house is the weird part of the book, but no, this book is so much more and so much more fun and so much weirder, and I love it. It talks about holes in the countryside. She eventually finds different weird things as she's roaming around this countryside. Everything that I've read in this book, every weird thing that she encountered is just unfathomable. I don't know what she's going through. I don't know what is happening in this book. It's just a wild ride and it's so fun. But mainly what this book is critiquing is hustle culture, how everyone is expected to work to the bone because of capitalism and then eventually live with no purpose when they're older. All of the weirdness of this book is justifiable, you know. I really dislike when a book just tries to be weird without having a reason to. All of the weirdness of this book is really just pushing this narrative of you're stuck in the hole, this dream of retiring, this dream of not having to work, and this dream of not needing to pay rent, but yet you feel stuck in a hole. I really recommend this book because it's such a short read. I had so much fun with this. Highly recommend to read this during the summer. Next, we have a cult favorite, which is Bunny by Mona Awad. I only read this once when it first came out. These are all my old tabs. I think the sequel to Bunny is coming out, so I got reminded of this book again. I don't think I've ever found another cultish, elite girls cult kind of book ever after reading this book. I know a lot of other books explore academia cults, but this feels different because it's very much like Mean Girls type of cliques, and they do perform cultish activities in this. I think those are the scenes that stuck with me the best. It's just so fun to read them. I read this when I was still in university. It's so fitting of how elite universities are. You have a bunch of these kind of smart people, and these people have a lot of time to spare, so you will see them coming up with all sorts of different social activities, and this book delivers that so well. A lot of times you would be thinking, what the hell am I reading? But then you just go with it, and the story just turns out to be really, really good. The premise of this book is just about this protagonist, this girl. She's a graduate student on fiction writing. Her class is filled with rich girls that are weird, and one day she receives an invitation to this cultish group called the Smut Salon. This clique calls each other Bunny. They don't really use their own names. They just call each other Bunny. Yeah, a cult favorite, weird book. Finally, we're going into body horror, a trope that I really, really like. This novella that I recently read is so good. It's called Helpmeet by Naben Ruthnum. This is exactly how I want my gothic fiction to be. It's melancholic, it's a bit quiet. The prose is very romantic, and right off the bat, it's grotesque. It's nauseating. I had to stop the book a few times because it's kind of weird. I like that the book isn't exaggerating in its body horror just to achieve a scary sense of world. It's horrifying, it's gut-wrenching because it is the body. It is how the body is when it's decaying, when it's dying, when it's just holding on to the last thread before you can officially die. This book is set in the 1900s, and it's about this wife taking her dying husband back to a house that he wants to die in. The whole book is just this journey, this short journey of them traveling from their old house that's kind of crumbling down, especially the revelation of this sickness that the husband is having. It starts to get weird there. And I just love this book so much. I don't think this is a spoiler because it's in the blurb, but you'll learn soon enough that the husband is not plagued with any sickness, but more so it's because of his actions. Something is manifesting in his body. And it's kind of, dare I say, feminist as well. So if you like seeing men get into ruin, especially men who deserves it, read Helpmeet. Next, I have a book that's not entirely super weird, but I feel like you would be kind of weird if you enjoy reading this. I enjoy reading this though. This is The Woman in the Purple Skirt by Natsuko Imamura. It's translated from the Japanese by Lucy North. At first, I thought it's a thriller because it is about this woman who has stalkerish behavior, trying to befriend or trying to make sense of this stranger's life, this woman in the purple skirt. She monitors which buses she takes, what she eats, and you will realize this is a book about how normal it is for all of us to just judge strangers based on our own life experiences and perspectives. It's about how isolated we all feel in society, so we succumb to these desires of trying to figure out someone from the lens of our own without even trying to get to know them. If you people watch, so this book is introspective. It is a quiet book. If you want a quiet, weird book, it's not that weird though, but you will realize you are actually quite weird in real life. This is also for all you parasocials out there. I know I am. I'm a bit parasocial sometimes, especially when I see people on the internet that I ship. Oh God, this is bad. Yeah, this book made me realize we're all kind of weird in this isolated society that we're living in right now, especially with everyone, nearly everyone on the internet. I have another body horror book. It is Nails and Eyes by Kaori Fujino. This is translated from the Japanese by Kendall Heitzman. I find it to be so eerie and so disturbing. I felt pain reading this book, especially the first story, which is Nails and Eyes. This book is weird and eerie in the sense where it's told in second POV. So it's from the lens of this little girl. I think she's very, very young, who is talking to you as if you are her stepmother. It's about how you started an affair with her dad and how her mother passed away at some point and how you dealt with it. And it's a very weird experience for me because I have never entertained the thought of being the third person in the relationship. Like, there are plenty of men out there, there are plenty of people out there. No thanks, no thanks. It's kind of a weird read in that sense. And you will wonder, how is this little girl observing everything around her? The book talks a lot about nails and eyes. That is where the body horror comes in. I felt pain whenever I read about the nails and eyes in this book. And it's disturbing. If you like a weird, disturbing book, I would really recommend this. The ending was kind of scary. Yeah. Let me just say that. Last but not least, in my recommendations, I have In Praise of the Stepmother by Mario Vargas Llosa, and this is translated by Helen Lane. I read this a few years ago. I bought this book in a used bookstore, and I only picked it up because it says Nobel Prize winner. This book talks about this Dawn, his second wife, and his son. And this entire book is just talking about this weird family dynamic, erotic exploration within the family. Look, at least I really appreciate that this book really felt like it came out of history. I actually believe like these characters are real and these actually happened in history based on how wild people in the past are and how sexually open they are, I guess. So this reads very much like a history book, but in a poetic way, and I enjoyed that part the most. I find one chapter to be very weird and it completely caught me off guard, and I might be king shaming if I say this chapter is weird, so I'm sorry if you have this kink. It's chapter 6. I still remember the number. Chapter 6, Don Rigoberto's Ablutions. You'll understand why I said this chapter is weird just by the first sentence. Don Rigoberto entered the bathroom, bolted the door, and sighed. Instantly, a pleasing and gratifying sensation of relief and expectation came over him. In this solitary half hour, he would be happy. The whole chapter is just talking about how relaxing and how erotic it is to take a shit. Would recommend this book if you're tired of smut and you want to read something that's unique. Anyways, those are my weird books. I can't wait to read more this year. I love weird books. I think that is like my top genre, if it is a genre, because life is weird, humans are weird, and we need weird but fun books to make us feel a bit normal. Do let me know if you have any recommendations. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next one.